welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Thomas Cathy. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give us a like, give us a comment, and let us know what you think. This is a final prediction video for the big, undisputed super bantamweight title fight between the one and only Naoya Inoue and Ireland's Inoue-Doheny, taking place in Tokyo. Thomas, good to speak to you as always. Obviously, speaking to you, you're from the coast of the west coast of America. Oh, I
That's
hope
right.
to get west coast of America. I'm in London. The fight's happening in
Mhm.
Japan, so there's a lot going on here. This probably we're not talking about on paper the most competitive fight here. If we're being honest, in a way, widely expected to win here. This is seen as one of his lesser, tougher challenges. And look, we all know he's kind of a knockout artist who stops the vast majority of his opponents. Give us your final prediction for what you expect to see in Tokyo, Thomas.
Oh boy. Well, I do hate to be boring, but yeah, I just like pretty much everyone else, I expect Naoya to win, and I expect him to win inside the distance. One thing that I did notice though about TJ Doheny is I'm not sure how much it's going to help him here, but all of his losses, none of them came by knockout. So,
Yeah.
perhaps he might be a little bit more durable than some of Naoya's last opponents, and he may be able to take it a little bit deeper. Uh, but it's really all about the quality opponents you're fighting at the end of the day. And on Doheny's record, at least on the winning side, there isn't really much there that I've seen. Beside him, holding a title at one point, I just don't really see what he's going to be able to bring to the table against Naoya.
Mm.
You have to be something different. You have to be something special. And yeah, I'm just not sure if TJ Doheny is that guy. So I will say the fact that he hasn't been stopped, I think it'll help him get into the mid rounds.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but I don't think that he will make it the full distance. I think he will get to round six before Inoue finally does him in.
Yeah, I think I think it's a big ask. I think Doheny, look, I'm happy that he has the opportunity here. He's been on a good run. He's been in some tough fights in his career. But yeah, I just think Inouye's a pound for pound star, and it's hard to see anything other than an Inoue stoppage. I think Doheny, look, he's lost to some good fighters. He's lost to Michael Condon, Daniel Roman as well. That was for a world title against Daniel Roman. Also, I noticed in that fight he was dropped against Daniel Roman, who's not the biggest puncher in the world, was dropped twice. So that kind of maybe helps make the prediction a bit easier as well. Just to confirm, Thomas, is round six a final prediction? If you had to pick a round, what round are you going for?
We'll go with round six. I
Go
think
round
he will
six.
make it to round six.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I agree with you. I feel like a lot of people here are saying Inoue rounds 1 to 3. And I just feel like a lot of Inoue fights, as great as he is, sometimes it takes him longer to get rid of an opponent than you would expect him to, for whatever reason. Obviously, he's going up against very, very tough competitors, but Marlon Tapales took him the 10th round. Paul Butler took him the 11th round. Stephen Fulton took him the 8th round. He's not getting rid of guys in rounds 1 and 2 as much as he used to, for whatever reason. And
And
Doheny, yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
I was just going to say that, Inoue is a guy that um, he doesn't really, he's not going to rush things as good as he is and as hard as he could punch. And, sure, he may get the knockouts before the first half of the fight, but that's because those come to him. And later, his most recent fights, uh, he's been taking his time, setting stuff up, kind of having fun in there a little bit, doing some Roy Jones stuff.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's not really that type of guy that's gonna like, come out and blitz you unless he catches you with a good shot early on.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, look, a lot of people are really desperate to see Inoue, and it's kind of disappointing when you kind of see your star and then it's over within a minute or so. And I think there's that factor as well. So I agree with you, Thomas. I'm going to be a bit annoying. I have round five in my head. So that's the round I'm going to go for. But yeah, I feel like we're speaking from the same hymn sheet here. You're going round six. I'm going round five. Um, do you want to touch on what we expect? We're both confident in who is going to win. In the next few hours. What what do you think? What do you expect him to do next? First question I'll ask you is: do you think this is his final fight at super bantamweight?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's about time he moves up to 126, and I think he's going to top out there and finish out his career at that weight. But at 122, I just I don't know if there's really a whole lot there. I think really the bigger fights for him are going to lie at 126,
Mm.
and that will be as he's getting into his early 30s now, that will be good for him to get those big fights in and make that money before he hangs it up.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's fair. I think that's a good. That's a really good shout. I think you in regards to Inoue's age, 31 now. He's not a young fighter. He possibly could only have 2 or 3 years left in the sport. So yeah, look, he's been in big fights in Japan, but I think though there are some very exciting fights at featherweight, and I also think another factor about Inoue is that if I'm being honest, he doesn't have a star-studded resume. He doesn't have name after name after name on his resume. He's got beaten good fighters, Inoue-Doheny, Lewis Neary are a couple of them, but it's not stacked in my opinion, and it could be stacked if he moves up to featherweight.
I agree.
Yeah, is there anyone in particular you want to see him fight at featherweight, Thomas? Obviously, there's some fantastic fights there. So there's some fantastic fights who have left the division. Ray Ford being one of them. Obviously, Brandon Figueroa is seen as kind of a real top featherweight. Ray Vargas drew his last fight, still the WBC champion. Nick Ball over here in England is a champion. Rafael Espinosa obviously beat Roberto Ramirez. Angelo Leo, who just dethroned Luis Alberto Lopez. There's tons of fights there, aren't there? I'm sure I'm missing a couple of names as well. If Inoue comes out and just kind of says, right, I want to go for like, the best in the division, one of the top guys right away, who do you think that's going to be?
You know, um, and I don't know how everyone else feels about this fight, but I would like to see him against um I would like to see him against Ray Vargas. I want to see how he would deal with someone with the height and then the length of on Ray Vargas.
Yeah.
And and Vargas is a pretty solid fighter. He's got a lot of the tools. He can put them all together.
Mm.
I don't think I don't know if he can beat Inoue, but I think there would be a really interesting challenge for Inoue. And then maybe down the line, I was going to say him first, but I don't think he's ready. So maybe Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington.
Hmm.
He's around that weight, and he's on his way up. And it's only a matter of time, maybe within the next year or so, before he's ready for a challenge like that. So yeah, him too. But if for the next one, if I had to pick, I'd like to see him against Vargas.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you remember Inoue started his career at light flyweight to go up against to move up to featherweight and to go up against someone as rangy as you mentioned as Ray Vargas, it would be really interesting. And I think to fight Ray Vargas in your featherweight debut as well is would be very interesting to see what happens there. So we'll see. Look, has to get past TJ Doheny first. And then we'll see. Look, we'll obviously be doing content around what would be next for Naoya Inoue and some really exciting fights. Thomas, good to be joined by you as always. Hope you stay up. Hope you manage to stay up to watch the fight. I know it's happening very early for you. Not so much for us. It's around lunchtime for us here in the UK, but we will see what happens. Thomas, thank you very much for your time, and I will speak to you again very soon.